Back in the 1960s, NASA, who were embarking on space exploration, faced a mundane yet critical issue: writing in space. Now you're probably wondering, what on earth writing in space has to do with testosterone and building muscle? But believe it or not, there's a fascinating link, so stick with me. Now, when it came to writing in space, what NASA discovered was traditional pens wouldn't work in the zero-gravity environment of space, which sparked a wave of brainstorming sessions where the brightest minds gathered to solve this very unique problem. And as the story goes, NASA's engineers, who were renowned for their expertise and creativity, dedicated immense resources and time to develop a space pen. Now, the thing about this pen is it needed to function in the weightlessness of space. It needed to be able to withstand extreme temperatures and be very reliable under conditions encountered in the cosmic realm. And now, meanwhile, the Soviet Union, who were in competition with NASA, faced the same challenge. But instead, they chose a path of simplicity. Instead of wasting countless hours, energy, and resources developing a space pen, they opted for the humble pencil to achieve the task of writing in space. Now, the story of the space pen is one of, I guess you could say, misguided focus, right? And it's a nice reminder that the right solution isn't always the most obvious one. Now, when I heard this story, I couldn't help but think to how some guys approach building muscle. And as for whatever reason, some men just can't seem to add mass to their bony frame. And adamant that it's their testosterone levels that are the problem, they end up doing all sorts of batshit crazy shit to try and boost the testosterone levels, like eating organs, doing ice baths, spending a fortune on supplements like tonka ali, ashwagandha, and natural testosterone boosters. But like I've already mentioned in previous videos, most supplements and pseudoscience testosterone boosting methods won't boost testosterone to the point where guys suddenly go from not being able to build muscle to overnight turning into Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock, in a matter of months. Only injecting synthetic testosterone will get you those kind of superhuman gains in such little time. And oftentimes, these guys who, I guess, mentally masturbate over boosting their testosterone are missing the mark when it comes to building muscle. Now, that's not to say some guys don't genuinely suffer from extremely low testosterone, and the medical term for this is hypogonadism. And the truth is that, there are guys out there who need genuine help through synthetic testosterone because their testicles, for whatever reason, have stopped producing testosterone, which means that they'll have trouble building muscle. But similar to kind of NASA and their space pen conundrum, there's often a more simple solution as to why most guys struggle to build muscle, which has absolutely nothing to do with low testosterone levels. So what could it be? Well, I see 3 common mistakes that I'm going to share with you that robs guys from building muscle. And the first mistake is what I call being on autopilot syndrome. And what I mean by that is their facial expressions are the same from the first rep through to their final rep. And you couldn't tell, right, when someone isn't gritting their teeth, pulling ugly faces, or having to kind of take a second to take a big deep breath in towards the end of the set. It's an obvious sign that they're just not training hard enough to initiate a muscle to grow. And you've got to understand, right, that for muscle to grow, you have to absolutely force the body to change. And the easiest way to do that is to make sure that your last rep is slower than your first rep. And if there's an obvious breakdown in the speed in which your first rep moves compared to your last, then congratulations is in order, because it means that you picked a challenging enough weight, and as a result, as long as you apply the 2 things that I'm about to share with you, your muscles will be forced to grow. Now, just like a house needs foundations to start the building process, so do your muscles. Because at the end of the day, your muscles aren't going to grow out of thin air, which is why eating the right amount of food is absolutely crucial for muscle growth. And the mistake most guys make is they either underreport how much calories they eat, say things like, I'm eating 3,000 calories, but when they actually measure and monitor how much they're eating, it's more like 2,200, which just for most guys isn't enough food to build muscle. But then at the other end of the spectrum, some guys just try and chomp down as much food as they can, pushing 4,000 or 5,000 calories per day. But What happens to these guys is instead of building muscle, they just get fat. At the end of the day, as much as it sucks to hear this, but you just can't force feed muscle growth just by eating more. So striking the balance between just eating enough food to promote muscle growth without gaining too much fat, that is the holy grail that every single man who wants to build muscle should aspire to. And it's how guys like Aaron, Arib, Roy, and Lewis manage to pack up t-shirt sleeves without getting fat. And you can get results like them, but only if you apply a recently discovered training technique that's got potential to build huge amounts of muscle. Now, commercial gym trainers absolutely hate this training technique, and I'll explain why in a second. But before I get into that, I want to quickly mention my done-for-you Skinny Fat Awakening program, where you and I work together on a one-to-one basis, and I take out the guesswork, confusion, and give you a proven system that's helped over 400 skinny fat guys fill out their t-shirt sleeves, get a physique they feel proud of, and the confidence that comes with having a lean midsection, broader shoulders, and bulging biceps. If you'd be interested in finding more, there's a link in the video in the description, and you can click on that and go through to our website and book in a call. Okay, now back to that unique training method that commercial personal trainers hate. Now, your typical personal trainer, straight out of PT school, are taught to train everyone the same. And when they qualify, they're adamant that everyone must train a muscle through a full range of motion. But the point is, is that we're not all built the same. And some of us respond better to different styles of training. So for example, a full range of motion in the leg press looks like this, and it's taking a movement from A down to B and back to A. So that's a pretty standard movement that you'll see guys doing in most gyms. But more recently, more and more evidence is coming to surface that training a muscle in the lengthened position, and that's where the muscle is at its most stretched, can actually build more muscle compared to conventional full range of motion training. And again, in the leg press, that would look like only training in the bottom half, where the quads are at their most stretched and pumping out the reps. And the name for this technique is called lengthened partials. And I suggest that you add some kind of lengthened partial for a body part that you want to bring up and experiment with these for 3 to 4 months and see how your body responds with it. Now, if you're already training hard, eating enough, and your testosterone levels are normal, but you still can't build muscle, you could have a chromosome defect that will literally stopping you from losing fat and building muscle. And in the next video, we'll explore how you can fix this. Thanks again for your time and attention. See you soon.